Entitled daughter-in-law banned me from seeing my grandkids for 10 plus years, then demanded to inherit my entire fortune. But my final move left her regretting everything. Alright, so I'm a 60-year-old man, and I'm not usually the type to spill my entire life drama on the internet. But damn, I gotta vent. My son passed away about 12 years ago in a freak accident, and that alone tore me to shreds. Then my daughter-in-law basically took my grandkids and dipped to another country, or at least far enough away that I never saw them. For a full decade plus, she never let me see those kids. Not a call, not a visit, nothing. Fast forward to a few months ago, and she randomly hits me up. At first, I was like, oh cool, maybe she's letting me see the grandkids, but nope, she immediately starts talking about my money. She's basically demanding that I leave everything to her in my will. Yeah, total shocker. She thinks I'm just gonna open my wallet and be like, yeah, so queen, take everything. Hell no. Let me give you some background. I busted my ass for years, working some no-frills jobs and eventually starting my own little business. I ain't some tech genius or anything, just a straightforward craftsman who built a decent living. By my mid-50s, I'd save up a respectable sum. My plan was always to pass it on to my son and grandkids when I kicked the bucket. Then life decided to toss me into the blender. My son dies, and I'm left with a daughter-in-law who basically ghosted me. I tried so hard to keep in contact with her and the kids after my son's funeral, but she just shut me out. Moved away, ignored my calls, blocked my emails. It was brutal. I missed birthdays, holidays, all those big milestones, just gone. I get random scraps of info about how my grandkids were doing from, like, old acquaintances or Facebook posts I'd find. It was heartbreaking. Then out of the blue, she calls me months back. At first, she's all fake friendly, asking how I've been, if I'm healthy, blah blah. I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's had a change of heart. Then, boom, she hits me with, so you got a decent nest egg, right? My brain short-circuited. She tries to spin it like, oh, it's for the kids, but come on, we all know it's for her. She basically demanded that I make her the main beneficiary of my entire estate, like that's totally normal after ignoring me for a decade. I told her I'd think about it because I didn't want to explode on the spot. That night I was losing sleep, remembering all the times I tried to see my grandkids and how she slammed the door in my face. I was furious and sad. All the feels rolled into one. Next day, I chatted with my mother, my son's grandmother. She's in her 80s, but she still got that no BS attitude. She said I should lawyer up ASAP. Sure enough, a couple days later, I got this super formal email from daughter-in-law. It was basically, given your advanced age, we must discuss the kid's financial future and more manipulative nonsense. She literally suggested I put her down as inheritor for everything so the kids would be taken care of. I was like, girl, you haven't even let me see them in forever, and now you want me to sign my life savings over to you? Hard pass. My lawyer's a chill guy, told me to keep my cool, but get everything squared away legally. If she tried any shady stuff, I'd need documentation of all her demands and threats. Meanwhile, I just kept thinking about my grandkids. They're teenagers now, and I have no freaking clue what kind of stories she's fed them about me. For all I know, they might hate my guts because they've only heard her twisted version of events. That thought still breaks my heart. Over the next few days, she kept ramping up the pressure, leaving voicemails saying I owe it to them, that I was punishing the kids by not handing over my money. So manipulative. Not once did she say sorry for disappearing or for blocking my attempts to be in their lives. I decided that was it. I was setting up a trust for the grandkids that bypassed her entirely. Lawyers said that was totally legit. If I wanted to give them money for college or future expenses, I could do it without letting her touch a cent perfect. I tried to imagine how my son would feel about this. He loved his kids, and I know he'd want them cared for. But I also knew he wouldn't want me to be a doormat. He had zero tolerance for entitled behavior, and I could practically hear him saying, Dad, don't let her screw you. So I found my backbone and started planning. We set up the trust so when each grandkid hits a certain age, or if they pursue education or some kind of career training, they can access their portion. That way, they're not reliant on their mom's nonsense. Daughter-in-law obviously freaked when she found out. She sent more emails, accusing me of not trusting her. Well, duh lady, you're pulling gold digger moves right now. I arranged a video call to see if she had even a shred of honesty left in her. Surprise, she didn't. She was all sweet at first, then launched into a rant about how she's had it so hard since my son died and how she had to move away because she felt unsafe around me. What the actual hell? I kept calm and asked why she never reached out when I offered help. She just gave me some vague nonsense about her reasons. Then she tried to justify demanding my entire fortune, saying stuff like, "I'm the kid's mother. It's my job to secure their future." I told her straight up I was setting up a trust for them. She'd get no direct access. Watching her face twist in anger was, well, I won't lie, it was oddly satisfying. She started yelling about me undermining her authority as a parent and how humiliating it was that I didn't trust her with the funds. Honestly, I couldn't even hold back. I was like, after everything you pulled, you expect me to trust you? Absolutely not. She threatened me with a lawsuit for child support or some random legal claim if I didn't cave. I told her to do her worst. My lawyer was already in the loop. She hung up on me, and I spent the next hour alternating between wanting to smash something and wanting to cry. It's my grandkids who are stuck in this messed up situation, and it kills me that she's using them like pawns. My uncle, he is 70 now, one of the few relatives who knows the whole story, told me I gotta protect myself. He was right. After that video call, I got a letter from her attorney demanding I ensure the kids have a certain standard of living, implying I was obligated to hand over a chunk of my wealth. My lawyer basically laughed at it and said grandparents aren't forced to fork over money like that. So we compiled all the paperwork, proof of my business, my personal finances, everything. Legally, I can do whatever I want with my money. If I decided to leave it all to a random cat shelter, I could. But obviously, I want my grandkids to have the support they need, just not filtered through that manipulative woman. So we got the trust hammered down with ironclad terms. No way she could worm her way in. I felt a surge of relief, like I finally had some control in this chaos. And I started thinking, damn, she's not going to back off easily. But at least I wouldn't be caught with my pants down in court. A few weeks later, I decided I wanted some sort of direct confrontation, but not in person. Lawyers said that might be risky if she tried any stunts, so I set up another online meeting. This time she showed up on camera with a smug look, like she'd already won. I asked if I could at least see the kids. Surprise, surprise, she said they weren't home. Probably total BS. I guess she was scared if I talked to them, they'd see a different side of the story. She launched into a sob story about how she had it tough financially, how she had no choice but to move away, blah blah. I brought up the trust again, calmly explaining that the kids would be well taken care of, just not through her. She lost it, ranting about how I was making her look like a bad mom, how I was meddling in her parental rights. When she was done, I finally let a bit of my anger show. I straight up told her, "You abandoned any family relationship the second you walked away and blocked me for a decade. I'm not your personal ATM." She exploded, yelling that I'd regret this, that I was heartless, etc. Then she logged off. I sat there for a good minute thinking, well, that went about as well as I expected. I called my mother again, and she was basically cheering me on for standing my ground. My uncle said the same, better to deal with this now than get blindsided later. After that, daughter-in-law tried more dirty tricks. She started sending me messages with pictures of my grandkids looking sad or complaining about how they needed money for school activities or extracurriculars. And she'd phrase it like, "If only you cared enough to help." Total emotional blackmail. I mean, what kind of person does that? Use your kids' pictures to guilt-trip their grandfather you ghosted for 10 years? She also tried to rally some of my distant relatives, telling them I was withholding money out of pure spite. A few cousins who didn't know the whole story reached out, like, "Yo, why are you denying your grandkids a better life?" So I had to explain to them the entire meltdown from day one. Needless to say, they turned on her real quick after hearing my side. The most infuriating part? She even dangled the prospect of me seeing my grandkids if I'd reconsider, giving her control of the inheritance. Like, wow, what a mind game. That's when I realized she'd stooped to any level. I told her if my grandkids want to see me, they're more than welcome to reach out, but I'm not changing the trust. Cue more furious texts about me being heartless. Eventually, she threatened to move overseas so I'd never see them. My heart sank at that thought, but I was also pissed. Using them as leverage was beyond disgusting. I asked my lawyer about it, and he said that if she leaves the country, it might be even harder for her to claim anything from me. But yeah, that also means I'd probably never get to meet my grandkids face to face. The whole situation was brutal, but I refused to cave. One night, my uncle and I started strategizing over beers. We basically decided I had to go full-on fortress mode. Lawyer up to the teeth, finalize the estate plan so there's no loopholes she could exploit, and gather evidence of her harassment. I hate treating family stuff like a courtroom battle, but she clearly left me no choice. So that's what I did. My lawyer and I spent weeks ironing out every detail. We set up separate trusts for each grandkid. I also reorganized my business assets to protect them from any potential lawsuit. I wanted to make sure it was all bulletproof. If she tried to drag me to court claiming this or that, she'd be banging her head against the wall. Then, like clockwork, she found out about my airtight plan and lost her mind. She sent me texts accusing me of destroying the kids' future. The irony is mind-boggling, since I'm literally setting them up so they can go to college, or start a business, or do something productive when they're adults. She went silent for a bit, and I naively hoped maybe she'd finally chill. Nope. She came back with a lawsuit attempt for back child support. Yeah, you read that right. Child support from a grandparent. My lawyer looked at me and said something like, "They really are trying everything, huh?" He basically told me it wouldn't hold up. There's no law that says grandparents are automatically on the hook for child support unless there was some legal arrangement or adoption, which there wasn't. So we filed a response, and the court threw out her claim. She showed up at the hearing with her attorney, looking pissed off when the judge essentially said, "No basis for this." She stormed out, and I felt this weird mix of relief and sadness. I mean, who the hell tries to pull that? After that, she tried this fake nice approach again. Send me random texts like, "Oh, the kids miss you so much, we should talk." But it felt shady, like she was hoping I'd drop the trust arrangement if I got emotional enough. I wasn't falling for it. She even tried to get some extended relatives to arrange a family meeting, but nobody wanted to be manipulated by her. They all knew better by then. So that left me in a good spot legally. My will was updated, the trusts were bulletproof, and if the kids ever come asking for help or want a relationship, I'm 100% down for that. But the daughter-in-law, she gets zilch. That's my final decision, and I'm sleeping just fine knowing she can't do a damn thing about it. A couple weeks ago, she actually showed up at my front door. I damn near had a heart attack seeing her in person after all these years. She tried to barge in, but I stood my ground in the doorway. She started this sob story about how tough life was, how her kids deserve opportunities, and that I'm a terrible grandfather if I don't help. I told her, I am helping them, just not through you. That set her off. She demanded to know the trust amount, basically wanting me to give her a number. I refused, told her it's not her business. She threatened to tell the kids I abandoned them. I was like, go for it. I've got receipts for everything. Her face was pure rage. I'm guessing she still thought she could bully me like she used to. But I'm done playing victim. She stomped away, cussing me out as she left. Haven't heard from her since, and honestly, that's a relief. If that's the last I see of her, I'm good. So that's the messed up story. I'm still torn up about my grandkids. I hate that I've missed so many years with them, and I hate that they've probably grown up with this twisted narrative of who I am. But at least I know I've done what I can to ensure they have a solid future waiting for them once they're old enough to handle it themselves. If they ever come to me directly, I'll welcome them with open arms. I got no beef with them. Obviously, they're just caught in the crossfire of their mom's entitlement. As for my daughter-in-law, she's out of luck. She decided to ban me from their lives for a decade, then tried to swoop in and take my entire fortune like she was entitled to it. She's got to live with the consequences of burning that bridge. I'm sure she regrets it now that she sees I'm not a pushover. And yeah, maybe she'll try another scheme down the line, but I'm ready. My paperwork is sorted, my lawyer's on standby, and I've learned not to underestimate how far people will go for money. I guess the takeaway here is, don't let anyone guilt trip you out of what's rightfully yours, even if it's family. It sucks, but sometimes the only way to handle manipulative jerks is to show them you're not bluffing. I'm a grandfather who just wanted to spoil my grandkids and share my life with them, but she robbed me of that for years. Now she's got to deal with the fact that I won't just roll over. I hope that once my grandkids are older, they'll reach out and I can explain the real story. For now, I'm done letting her get under my skin. I'm focusing on my own health, my own peace of mind, and the fact that the kids will have a stable future, even if their mom can't weasel her way into my inheritance. That's it. That's my messed up tale. Not exactly the family bonding story I ever wanted, but life isn't always fair. At least I can finally breathe easy knowing I stood up for myself and protected what I worked my ass off to earn. If she wants to keep being salty about it, that's her problem, not mine.